our country is finally taking a long look in the mirror as to how we treat women. And we are disgusted with what we see. And we should be. Our challenge is to now turn society's revulsion into reform. Carpe diem, to seize the day, to learn, to grow, to change. That's what we did with gun violence after Sandy Hook. That's what we did with sexual assault on college campuses. That's what we should do now after the exposure of the abuse of the women in this society. New York should lead the way once again, and we will. I begin again by proposing that no taxpayer fund should be used to pay for any public official's sexual harassment or misconduct, period. It is the bad act of the individual. Let the individual pay. I propose that no state or local government enter into a secret non-disclosure agreement. We can protect a victim's identity and privacy, but the taxpayers have a right to know that that agreement exists and that their funds were used to pay for that agreement. I propose that any companies that do business with the state disclose the number of sexual harassment adjudications they have had and the number of non-disclosure agreements they have executed. I propose that the state of New York pension funds only be invested in companies that the controller determines have adequate female and minority representation in management or on the board of directors to constitute good corporate leadership. Personally, I believe a company cannot have good management by definition if it effectively excludes women and minorities. I propose the legislature enact the Contraceptive Care Act and finally pass Roe v. Wade. I propose the legislature pass a government-wide, independent, and anonymous whistleblower process so victims are free to communicate complaints without fear of retaliation. And I propose that we really seize the opportunity, that New York enact a strict, new, uniform code of sexual harassment policies, binding on all state employees, in all branches, in all authorities, in all agencies, and on local governments, and set a new national standard of respect for women, and we set the bar high. Let New York stand and say, we are not the state of denial. We acknowledge the long-standing bias and abuse against women, and New York says it stops now, and we will set the standard for other governments and industry to follow, and that is the New York way.